Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and of course, so-called human beings, welcome to the channel. I'm Cap. This is my place. Today we're going to review some steel targets, but before we do that, without regard to what brand of steel target you buy, two warnings. First, make sure you comply with all manufacturer recommendations for safe distance from your target and all manufacturer recommendations for not shooting steel targets with armor-piercing ammunition or ammunition that has a steel penetrator. Secondly, any steel target that has been shot with lead-based ammunition should be considered a lead hazard. Lead is a cumulative poison that accumulates and remains in the neurological tissues of the brain and the spinal cord and reproductive tissues of the testes and the ovaries. Having said that, here's all the business about liking, sharing, and subscribing. Let's get to the video.
Hey everybody, welcome to the North 40. Today we're going to do a product review. This is one of the few products that I like wholeheartedly and have no complaints about at all. I'm going to review these steel targets, and they are from Tactical AR-500 Targets Incorporated from Pennsylvania. First of all, guys, if you start looking for steel targets and someone claims to you that they can sell you a steel target for less than $100 and it's a full-size IPSC type target, probably not AR-500 steel, or the steel was stolen. This kind of stuff is very expensive up front, but it's a set it and forget it kind of proposition. So I met Jared and Kirby and some of the other guys from TA Targets at the October Knob Creek machine gun shoot in, I believe it was 2015. I already had a little bit of steel from some other sources, so I already knew kind of what I was looking at, and I had been doing research online. When I saw what they had, I basically blew my wad of cash at their table. I left that Sunday with the bed of my full-size pickup truck filled up past the bed rails with these guys' product. That was 2015. The thumbnail photo that you're going to see with this video is of the back of this target. So this has been sitting outside in my hayfield continuously for 10 years now, and the stickers on the back are still legible. That's the kind of product that they source and that they manufacture. So what's the deal with these? Well, this one here is their Goliath, and it's one of the original ADAP targets. Like I said, this one is 10 years old, and although some of the powder coating has been blown off the ring base, and let's see if I can tilt this back, because this is heavy. This target is AR-550 half-inch steel. This is their ring base. The current version of this target in 2025 is retailing, depending on what kind of additional goodies you attach, from $800 to $940. It's rated for up to and including 50 BMG, that's the 50 caliber Browning machine gun, like you see on top of tanks, and you used to see sticking out the sides of B-17s and B-24s during World War II, from as close as 100 yards. If that sounds like BS to you, it should sound like BS, except for when the Knob Creek machine gun shoot was still a thing. they created armored posts for these, and they would sacrifice their targets for the sake of research on the main firing line at the Knob Creek machine gun chute. Do they fail? Well, when you've had two guys with General Electric miniguns pin these so they can't swing, and then 4 or 5 guys with Browning 50 caliber machine guns go to work on them with armor-piercing incendiary, well, yeah, eventually they fail. But unless you're doing that kind of thing, if you're a police department, if you're a club, a sportsman's club, or if you're an individual shooter like me, you are never going to damage this as long as you're using some sort of soft core ammunition. Never. Now, from the research that I've done online, and I've said numerous times on camera, I'm not that smart. From what little I've been able to find, and from what I can understand, you don't want to weld on AR-500 and AR-550 steel. It doesn't like that. And so there's no welding on these target faces. The brackets, they're bolted on. These carriage bolts here are actually armored carriage bolts. I've intentionally used the carriage bolts on this target and their smaller reduced size silhouettes, which I'm just going to show you some of. I've intentionally used those carriage bolts as aiming points, and they've withstood impacts from 168 grain Sierra Match Kings from, again, as close as 100 yards, because we follow manufacturer's instructions for safety. And the only thing that's happened is I've knocked the paint off of them. So let's talk about steel targets here. What makes, I'll stop screwing with that so you don't have to listen to it. What makes these steel targets safe? Well, first of all, actual armored steel, AR-500 or harder. But the other thing is, A, they have to be angled, or they have to swing. And in this case, these targets are both angled and they swing. They dissipate energy very nicely. They direct the majority of the spall from the bullet down into the ground. The stuff that comes up the top, those are particles. They're very small, and so because they have so little mass, they carry very little energy. We've never had anything in all the years I've been hosting my 2-gun shoot for the other guys I was CO with. We've never had anything come back at us from any of these targets. Should you wear safety glasses? Yeah. Do you need to wear hearing protection? Yeah, you're shooting. Unless you're in one of the 42 states that are not abridging their citizens' rights and permitting you to have suppressors, yeah, use hearing protection. The biggest thing I have shot these targets with, I put a spotted tape on one of these and I shot it with a 20 gauge copper slug from my deer gun. And here we've got a close-up of the 1/2-inch AR-550 Goliath, and as you can see, there's no pitting. All I've managed to do is knock paint off of the target face. And again, like I said, you can see the carriage bolts. None of these carriage bolts are dimpled. I've actually used them for aiming points, and the same thing, 168 grain Sierra Match King. All I did was knock paint off of them. And again, the only marks on this is where I've knocked the paint off, and I shouldn't be touching that with my bare hands. But yeah, not following my own advice. Let's take a look at their C-Zone ADAP target, which is, at the time that I bought it, it was 3/8 inch AR500. I was on their website last night. They're no longer offering AR500. Everything is AR550. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at their rifle dueling tray. All right, guys, this is one of their reduced C-Zone targets. Again, attached with armored carriage bolts. There's no welding on the target face. With these, as I sink into the mud, the ring base, if you can see it down here, that hurt. The ring base here has a couple of rectangular steel tubes welded to it, and with that allows you to overcome really the one disadvantage of steel targets, which is that they're not scoreable. So all you do, put a couple of slats of wood in there, put a paper target up in front of your steel. You get the immediate audible feedback from shooting the steel, and you have a scoreable paper target at the same time. Again, I've had this target. This is one of their original ADAPs. It's 10 years old. So I've had this stuff 8 years longer than I've been producing YouTube videos. They've provided nothing to me. My only relationship with them is as a paying customer. And if I needed more steel targets, these are the guys I'd buy it from. Again, this target, the only place that there's any rust at all on this is where I didn't paint it in the fall. It's not dimpled with anything. Again, up to and including the 168 grain Sierra Match Kings from as close as 100 yards. And I think I also shot this one with the 20 gauge copper slugs. These are from before the era of their retail armored posts. So you would get the ring base, you would get the bracket, this bracket here, and the target and a pin, and you would simply buy your 2x4, cut it to whatever length you want, and you're in business. I believe this one is currently retailing for $500 to $700. Again, they're not, if I understand their website correctly, they're no longer offering any AR500 steel. It's all the harder AR550. I don't know how you could damage this stuff unless you're being intentionally stupid with your investment, and that's what this is. These targets are an investment. Let's take a look at their rifle dueling tree. All right, guys, this is the Tactical AR Targets rifle rated dueling tree. They also have pistol rated targets, including the strike faces, paddles for rimfire on their website. As I have this set up, it is currently priced ranging from $875 to $1,000. A lot of other places, their dueling trees, when you shoot them, they start doing one of these. Just if you shoot it with pistol ammunition, and the strike faces will just wobble back and forth. If you're having a little bit of competition, you don't really know who won because the thing shakes back and forth so much. The other thing that you sometimes see with dueling trees, whether they're for pistol or rifle, the paddles may not stay attached when you shoot them. That's not the case with these. There's a key notch, and a key way on the back of the target. I'm going to stop talking so I can manipulate the sound so you don't have to listen to this. And what am I talking about? Well, this is what I'm talking about. This notch here, the size of my thumb, prevents these targets from popping out of the brackets on the back of the target. One of the great things about these targets, let me get out of your face. One of the great things about these products from Tactical AR Targets is that not only do they not fall over when you shoot them, I obviously am shooting in a hayfield. I'm a couple of 100 yards from the road. There's nothing to block the wind. And the farmland on the south side of the road that I sadly don't own, from the road to the tree line is 800 yards. Out of the north, the nearest tree line is about 1.5 miles away. The hillside isn't that high. These targets remain standing. It's taken as much as 80 miles an hour worth of wind before one of them, this guy with the forward lean to it, fell over. I've never had one of their targets fall over while shooting, unlike, well, that's gross, several other brands of targets that I have. Let me stop talking and turn the sound down here. Okay. The only problem with this target is if you shoot these rifle rated plates with handguns, there's a sweet spot, and if you don't hit the sweet spot, they won't flip. Because again, they're rated for the energy, the velocity, and the mass of rifle ammunition. And I really don't find that to be an issue. When I have my match, my shoot, I simply tell the guys that you have to hit the paddle. The plate, this entire thing except for the ring base is armor steel. If the entire thing isn't, if the post isn't armor, I would not shoot it with pistol, let alone rifle ammunition. And this is safe to shoot just about anything at it. There's a little surface rust here because spall from the bullets has knocked the paint, the powder coat, off of the post, but there's a channel here so it doesn't come back at you. It gets all deflected. And as I've said more than once here, as long as you follow the manufacturer's safety recommendations, there is no reason that it should not be safe for you to use these targets. So I've never done this before. I've always had some sort of complaint about a particular product. I have none about these. I wish I had more space for more targets, and I wish I had more money to buy more of their targets. I wholeheartedly endorse these guys and their product. So thanks for watching. We'll see you with another video every Wednesday, and Mondays and Fridays is empty. My empty head fills up with something weird. Bye-bye.